Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of What the is Happening? In the last episode, we went over the basics of how the American presidential election works, and I really wanted to learn more about who these candidates are. So I am very excited to announce that I have partnered up with Know Your Vote to bring you this extra special episode, Who the are the Candidates? Know Your Vote is a platform that aggregates publicly available candidate data so that you don't have to go looking for it. They have helped me put together this super simple tip sheet of nonpartisan facts directly from the source. And I'm going to share it with you now, but I really recommend that you go check out their website, knowyourvote.io, links below, and they have so much useful information there. But without further ado, here are the top Democratic candidates. Bernie Sanders is a senator from Vermont, and he's generally regarded as the furthest left of the candidates. Medicare for All is Bernie's flagship platform. Under his plan, private healthcare insurance would cease to exist, and there would only be a public option, which would be available to everyone. Bernie is an adamant advocate of protecting the environment. Specifically, Bernie wants to implement the Green New Deal, which would enable Americans to reach 100% renewable energy for electricity and transportation by no later than 2030. He believes we should cancel all student debt and make college free for everyone, programs he would fund by increasing corporate and individual taxes. Elizabeth Warren is a senator from Massachusetts. She is generally regarded as one of the more progressive of the 2020 candidates. She advocates for universal child care to help combat systemic discrimination against women of color. She supports passing the Equality Act to guarantee that the LGBTQ population is not discriminated against, and plans to take executive action to combat workplace discrimination and ban conversion therapy. Warren advocates for comprehensive immigration reform. She wants to expand legal immigration, raise the refugee cap, and decriminalize migration. Like Bernie, Warren also believes in Medicare for All, which she would pay for in part with an ultra-millionaire tax. This tax would tax the wealth of households with a net worth of $50 million or more, the top 0.1% of households. Of all the candidates, Warren has come out the strongest against big tech companies like Facebook, which she says are not doing enough to protect user privacy. She also believes that large tech platforms that offer a public marketplace, like Facebook and Amazon, they should be designated as platform utilities in order to encourage entrepreneurs and small businesses to compete against these existing giants. Pete Buttigieg is the mayor of South Bend, Indiana, and he's generally regarded as one of the more moderate candidates in the 2020 election. His policies are socially liberal, but they generally don't go as far to the left as Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders. His stance on healthcare is a big differentiator between him and the more progressive candidates. Buttigieg proposes a healthcare plan called Medicare for All Who Want It. This plan guarantees universal coverage, but also maintains the existing system of private insurance companies. Pete wants to create a path to citizenship for the about 11 million undocumented people living in the United States who call this country home. And Buttigieg plans to invest in entrepreneurship while also supporting workers' rights. He wants to ensure 12 weeks of paid family leave, support unions, and raise the federal minimum wage to $15 an hour. He also wants to create a mandatory national service program, which would spur the creation of millions of jobs, he says. Amy Klobuchar is a senator from Minnesota. She is also considered one of the more moderate candidates in the race. Klobuchar does not support Medicare for All, and instead, she wants to improve the Affordable Care Act, bringing down the cost of healthcare for everyone by putting a nonprofit public option in place. So this would allow people to buy into affordable health insurance coverage through Medicare or Medicaid. Klobuchar advocates for improved infrastructure, including repairs to roads, highways, bridges, providing protection against flooding, expanding public transit, rebuilding schools, ensuring access to clean water, and among a bunch of other things. To do this, she plans to boost federal infrastructure spending, issue more bonds, and implement corporate tax reform. She wants to protect the American worker by supporting labor unions and protecting the right to organize and collectively bargain. She plans to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour and guarantee up to 12 weeks of paid family leave. Mike Bloomberg is a businessman and the former mayor of New York City. He's running as a moderate. He declared his candidacy at the end of 2019, which is why you may not have seen much of him throughout the earlier debate season. He's personally financing his campaign, which has helped him rise quickly in the polls since the start of this year. One of the biggest issues he is running on is gun control. He really wants to push for stronger background checks, hold the gun industry accountable, and tackle gun violence. He wants to make climate change a top priority for U.S. foreign policy, stop the expansion of coal, and invest in clean energy. He wants to build on the Affordable Care Act. The first step would be to create a Medicare-like public option, health insurance that would be administered by the federal government, but paid for by customer premiums. Tackling the opioid epidemic is also a major part of his healthcare policy. And on the Republican side, we have Donald Trump. Donald Trump, as we all know, is the Republican incumbent, and he is running primarily on the successes of his first few years in office, which most notably include a strong economy. The Trump administration passed tax cuts for families and small businesses. His administration also emphasizes job creation. In the past few years, the U.S. economy has expanded, and the unemployment rate has fallen to its lowest point in 50 years. Trump emphasizes cracking down on China for trade cheating. The Trump administration has placed 25% tariffs on approximately $250 billion worth of products that are supported by China's trade policies. Trump plans to confront Iran's aggression in the Middle East. The Trump administration has instituted an array of sanctions against Iran for its destabilizing activities and actions. Trump is a strong opponent of abortion. President Trump has worked with Congress to sign a bill overturning an Obama regulation which prohibited states from defunding abortion service providers. Trump doesn't believe that taxpayer dollars should be spent to support abortion coverage. So there you have it. Again, this is just a tiny sample of what these candidates are about. Send me your questions, and the team at Know Your Vote and I will do our best to answer them. And don't forget to check out their website because it really is super helpful, and it's been an amazing resource for me, and you can see where each of the candidates lies on the issues that matter the most to you. Please share this with someone who you think could use the tips. And again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.